Oh yeah, we're good. I think
and up here and on video is here because they care about our city and they're willing to invest in it. And their willingness should be a lot of time. Not a lot of people are that. So I just want to know that your time, whether you're in office or running for office, that's appreciated. Well, that was weird to hear myself again. So, you are ahead of the game by attending the forum. Now, some of you, maybe you already voted by absentee ballot, but otherwise, this is a great opportunity for you to learn about the candidates, learn about their beliefs, and I would just encourage you to reach out to your neighbors so that they get that information as well. A little bit about what your ballot is going to look like. So for mayor, you're going to have Ryland Eigenhorst and Jim Phillips on a hands. For council members, you're going to elect two of these people. It's Paul Pendergast and Marie Reisendorf. And then in the special election, you'll elect one of the four people who are running in that seat: Daniel Spring, Irv DeVelmek, Jim Richards, and Jeff Mag. So one of those four. Each position also offers the option for a write-in candidate on the ballot. So again, thanks to everyone. I think Irv is the only one who is not in attendance tonight. And so we'll go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with our first question. And again, candidates, if you would give a brief introduction prior to your answer, that would be helpful. And Marie, we're going to test the technology right out of the gate. We'll start with you and see how this works. First question that we have tonight is if you can share your views on growth in our community and what specifically you think we need.
Great, thanks. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak tonight. Unfortunately, I'm nursing the flu, so I felt like I didn't need to share that with anyone. So I appreciate the ability to join virtually. So my name is Marie Reisdorfer. My husband and I have lived in Oronoco for 12 years. We have 3 young children and 1 very old black lab. So we're blessed to be part of this community. So Adam, to your question about views and growth of our community, I think Oronoco is a special place to me. I believe our community growth should reflect what makes it unique. So our open, spacious backdrop with the ability to really see the stars in the night sky, our close-knit neighborly connections, our strong community spirit really makes Oronoco stand out. I think growth is important for our future. We need to do it thoughtfully. We need to preserve the qualities that make this home for all of us. I'm committed to the development that keeps our rural charm intact while really fostering the growth that benefits everyone. This means carefully planning projects that fit our long-term vision, protecting our green spaces, and enhancing our quality of life. I want to stress how important our voice and input is, and you guys will be involved in every step of that planning process. My focus will be on improving infrastructure, enhancing and supporting local businesses, and ensuring we have a sustainable tax base. I want to be very clear on my position. I will avoid high-density projects that can disrupt the character of Oronoco. We have room to grow, and we want to welcome others in our community, but the development should be in ways that align to our vision and our values. Above all, I believe listening is key to strengthening our community. I will be an advocate for discussions and decisions to take place in a transparent forum like we are here today that really ensures proper documentation and fosters community engagement. While it's certain that some decisions may not align to everyone's preferences, I will ensure that the City Council will prioritize trust, honesty, and integrity in decision-making processes. This will ensure that all choices are well-informed and thoughtfully considered. I want to make it clear that while we as candidates are seeking to serve as elected officials for the City of Oronoco, our efforts cannot be done alone. We need your commitment as residents to stay engaged, bring an open mind, free from bias, and move beyond past grievances. This will allow us to really focus on building a stronger, more united Oronoco that we can all be proud of. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Appreciate that. Paul, let's go to you next. Same question. I'm going to have you guys, like Rylan, there's a mic in front of you. We're just going to have you pass that.
Okay.
Maybe over to Jeff when he gets to him, and then there's another mic over here by you, Jim. We'll just make sure that you guys get that in front of you so that everybody. Rylan, let's go to you next.
Okay. My name is Rylan Nyquist. I have been in years. Iowa after retiring at John Deere. I finished my 4th term as mayor. I have a passion. My wife and I moved here. Kind of small. My attraction to Oronoco, being close to Menards, Target, and Walmart. Enjoyed being here. I've enjoyed being on. Very instrumental in the project. Great. Improve the quality of life. So allow me to thank you, Joy, and support of the Lions Club and Adam. New municipal sewer system definitely will allow Oronoco to years. Our proximity to Rochester, to character, just living minutes, Target, Menards. Great alternative. In regards to the second part of the question, housing is important as different types of housing are life. Singles, professional people, couples with no children, young families just starting out in a place to accommodate them, dwellings, townhomes, pods, and seniors who have moved away from Oronoco because there was housing out here. They indicate that they'd love to come back to Oronoco, live in a town. Such growth is advantageous for well tax base and park recreation amenities by adding paved paths, playground equipment, sports. This will improve the quality of life for our citizens, young. In addition, there will always be ways such as tubing, canoeing, kayaking, enjoy the rivers. No doubt some streets are in need of upgrading. Additional tax revenues will help with. New community center, all fire and first responder building, or a building all under for these departments in one roof, perhaps including the library, would be awesome. Highway 52 and Exit 64 is prime land for commercial development on both sides of the interchange, not only for Oronoco residents, but for those others that live nearby. The land south of 100th Street is planned M1 for industrial or other permitted uses, providing an opportunity for additional tax base funds, and more importantly, jobs for people who live in Oronoco now and in the future. The Oronoco Planned Future Land Use Map, which you see over here, in the corner, is a great tool and a guide for the city's future development and needs to be updated regularly. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Paul, just to give you a heads up, we're going to go back to you in a little bit because the mic wasn't in front of you, so folks online didn't hear.
Did you want to do that right now?
No, we're gonna keep going with you, Jeff.
Right.
So the newcomer Jeff is going to join us now.
Sounds good. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Mangeson. I have been here in Oronoco since December of 2019, right before COVID happened, and we locked ourselves in our house, never to see all of our neighbors. So it's nice to meet a lot of you for the first time. Aside from COVID, my wife and I have welcomed 3 children in that time period. Our first daughter was born in February of 2020. My newest here, coming up on 1 next week. Really excited. So my wife broke off the shackles. I'm here to give all of you my vision of Oronoco. Adam, would you mind reading that first part of the question back?
Yep. What are your views on growth in our community? What do we need?
Thank you. My views for Oronoco are optimistic. I believe Oronoco has a lot of value within this town through all the citizens that I've personally met in the few times I have been able to venture outside my house. We're not struggling on that anymore. Just tonight, meeting Joy Bertsinger, thank you very much for putting this on, and the rest of the History Society, I learned who sells some of the best little honey. I drive by them all the time, and it was nice to finally put a name to a face. There's a lot of things that we can do here in our community. There are tradesmen, there are people of all professions that make up our town that can provide something back. There is going to be a point where brick and mortar isn't going to be beneficial for our town. So when it comes to businesses, yes, we do need to think about what businesses we are bringing into this town and what value they will provide for the community in terms of the jobs they provide, the essentials that they provide. DG Market, shout out, great, but is it going to be staffed enough? Is it going to be constant closures? Is it going to be a traffic jam? I love that our city is right on the highway of Highway 52, US 52, pardon me. Anyways, it is a boon to have so much accessibility to our town. We should not let that impede the normal flow of traffic. We do not need congestion in our town. So, Ryland, as you were saying, making use of the land map that we have will be beneficial. I am optimistic, and I believe that we will be able to work together to provide something as a community, whether it is housing, commercial, or other.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Paul, we're going to go back to you for take 2.
Okay. Oronoco has a lot of natural growth. It's what the way Oronoco has been set up and struggling over the years of trying to keep developers at bay. You know, without the infrastructure and the water and sewer in place, we've really had to hold people off, and there's going to be so much natural growth of people coming here. I don't really see the reason to have to promote Oronoco any further than you have to, because, like you say, the people were right on Highway 52. People know where we're at. They know what they don't want to be in Rochester. A lot of the townsfolk, they moved out here because they didn't want to be in Rochester, or they've come from other communities, come from the cities to make it stop here because it's a short drive to Rochester, and it's not in with that hustle and bustle.
Thanks, Paul. Sorry we made you do that twice. Daniel, another newcomer to Oronoco politics. Let's go over to you.
Yep, I'm Daniel Spring. I've been in Oronoco now for 8 years. I work downtown at Mayo in the radiation oncology department. My thoughts on growth emphasize a need for a balanced and planned approach. While growth is essential and inevitable, it's crucial to consider the desires of the current residents. I believe the city should prioritize increasing the number of commercial properties faster than the residential ones, such as upgrading the downtown area. In addition to pursuing commercial growth, we should be continually actively engaging with the residents to define what life in Oronoco means to them. Recently, we conducted 2 surveys, each with just over 100 participants. While both surveys revealed similarities, they also painted different visions of our future. Additionally, we have a petition from over 200 residents urging the city to adhere to the current land use map. The feedback is valuable for these, and it's a great starting point, and with continued engagement, we can develop a plan to address the desires of our residents. We need to move forward with intentional planning. Commercial development is a key factor in enhancing our tax base, which is critical for maintaining essential services like fire and emergency response. As we plan for a population growth, it's important to remember that Oronoco's infrastructure, including roads, public services, must evolve to meet the increased demands. For instance, significant upgrades might be needed to improve road safety and accessibility by widening the roads for turn lanes and developing walking paths. One demographic in particular that we need to be planning for is our aging population. One survey requested was for smaller, low-maintenance homes and lots. The city finding for the correct area to zone for this type of purpose-built community would be the first step. Then finding a developer who is willing to build smaller, zero-step homes would be crucial to the task for the EDA. Another consideration is how is transportation for our students are going to be affected by the increased population. By focusing on commercial properties first, we can build our capital improvement fund without the larger spending increases that typically accompany the growth of population. This approach allows us to select developments that align with our predetermined zoning map. Ultimately, while growth can increase our tax base, we must consider all factors to avoid a net zero impact in a piecemeal city. This strategy not only supports economic development, but it also helps preserve the quality of life in our community. We cannot build our future based off a hypothetical resident. We need to build our city together with our current residents that can be proud of and hope that others want to join our vision.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you.
Hey, Jim Richards, you've got the mic in front of you. Go for it.
Alrighty. I'm Jim Richards. I've been in Oronoco for 36 years. I love our city. I have 2 children and an awesome son-in-law. I've been on the council now for almost 4 years. And prior to being on council, I was on planning and zoning, I believe for a little over a year. Okay. So, question of what are my views on the growth in our community? So, honestly, I see this as an exciting but yet a challenging prospect. I think our growth needs to be carefully thought out. We're at a pivotal time, given our new wastewater treatment facility has opened and we're extending water and sewer to all of our residents. That's a big deal, and we know that we're going to get businesses and we're going to get people who want to build their homes here, bring their families here. But to do that, I think we need community engagement. We need to engage our residents through things such as surveys, task groups, discussions. We need to understand our residents' vision for our city. I think we need to plan for our corridor into the city on both ends. I think we need to have a vision for our downtown and how we can make this an enticing city to bring people in off the highway to support our businesses in our city as our city grows and currently. And I think we need to define, what do we want people to remember when they visit our city? I also think we need to attract new businesses and identify the businesses that can provide jobs and services without overwhelming our current infrastructure. We shouldn't be using huge tax credits to get those businesses here, because we know businesses will want to come if we have a carefully thought out plan. All parts of our growth need to coexist. I think we also need to continue to improve our infrastructure as financially feasible. We need to start planning for a new and improved city hall, or update the current one if that's even possible. Not saying this has to happen overnight. I think this is either a 5-year or 10-year plan, but to do that, I think we need to include our community and put a subcommittee together. I think we also need to improve our emergency services. We need to start a plan there to update our existing fire hall or add an additional fire hall based on the population and the location of our population. Is this a 5-year plan? Is it a 10-year plan? That's yet to be seen based on the rate of our growth. And we need to also consider our streets and roads and be able to accommodate the increase in the traffic. We need to make safety improvements for proper turn lanes, walkways, to get people away from walking on the streets for their safety and ours. We need to preserve and improve our parks and other public areas when financially feasible. And what does our city need? I think we need businesses to offset the tax burden on individual households in locations that make the best sense for the city and fall within our future land use plan. There's been a lot of work put into that plan, and it was voted on, and our residents had a big part to play in this future land use plan. I think we need to also identify and attract businesses that can provide jobs and services, and they want to become a part of our community. I also think we need transparent leadership. We need leadership where decisions are made by the entire city council, not just one person. And we need leadership without personal agendas. There's only one agenda, and that's the agenda of our people and the agenda of what's best for our city. And I think most of all, we need to keep in mind that in our planning, we need to allow this to be affordable to our current residents.
Thanks. Phillips.
Hi, I'm Jim Phillips, and thank you for the Lions Club and also for the History Center for putting this on. It's been the first time that I've seen this type of a forum, even though I guess it's been held in the past. I'm currently on City Council, and I've been on the City Council for the last 2.5 years. I did a half-year term that there was on an open seat, and then was elected 2 years ago as part of the council at that time. I'm currently running for mayor. I've had a chance, I'm vice mayor right now, but I've had a chance to see what the city needs and get a chance to get involved with a lot of the different committees that there are that you'll hear in my next question that I'll answer at that time. I moved here 4.5 years, or I should say moved back to Minnesota 4.5 years ago to take care of my aging parents. My father was transferred here to Austin that there was with Hormel when I was a junior in high school. I finished my junior and senior year of high school, went to junior college in the Austin Junior College program that there was, and finished my education in St. Cloud. Went to work for Hormel and have been, I was a sales manager for the last 45 years of my career. So most of that time was out in Southern California and spent a lot of time working in Mexico as well, across the border in that environment. It's been interesting the amount of comments that have come about on everything that there is here in the community. And I think that that's the main thing that there is to listen to what the community wants and where they want to go for their direction. Again, there's been 2 different surveys that have been put out there. And one of the main things is the people that live here in Oronoco live because they don't want to be in Rochester. They want something that's different. They like the country living that there is behind it. They like having the space that there is. They like the quietness. They like the ability for their kids to play and not have to worry about what's going on. And so that's kind of the main direction of what there is. The sewer project, once it got completed, and I got a chance to watch that from the ground floor up, was kind of the ticket when everything was going to take off for the community. You know, and it's been obvious with the first one that came in being the Hamilton Group, and looking at that development, it was different, and they wanted to have a lot of multi-use housing, I'll put it that way, and an apartment building is what they originally had proposed. But the key is not what they want. The key is what the community wants. And after 219 people signed a petition not to have it, but leave the zoning the way that it was originally set in the city. And I think that that's the way we should do in our growth that we have moving forward. We've seen a lot of organic growth right now with the 2 sisters that came in, which has been a huge success of what there is in our community. So that's a big part behind it. There's also a new development that's just getting ready to possibly take off in our community, and that's going to be called Gold Rush Crossings, and that's going to be at the end of Minnesota Avenue and 100th Street. And looking at that, it's looking at some of the other needs, which is what we're going to do with traffic on Minnesota Avenue, possible roundabout, different things that there are. But that development is going to bring in a lot of the growth that we want to have for the commercial growth that there is. The housing growth is going to continue. I think we do need to have some ability to have duplexes. I know that that's already zoned to do that. So city centers, there's many other things that we think we need to have. I see a time stamp that there is out there by the moderator, so you can talk to me later to get more details of what I think as we go on. Thank you.
We made it through question 1, and we're going to move on to question number 2, and we will come back to you again this time. So this city, as all small cities, require a lot of effort from volunteer committees and departments that have been set up to help facilitate the operations of the city. And the question that we have is, how would you support the various departments, committees that have been established to help the city operate, whether that's Parks, Fires Department, Planning, the Zoning, EDA? Those are an important part of the city, which obviously city council members and the mayor need to work with.
Great question. Thanks. So I would actively support both these departments and committees by really ensuring that the resources that they have are aligned to really foster collaboration that really drives to success. So if they succeed, we succeed, right? And so I think by regularly engaging with leaders from Park and Trails, the Fire Department, EDA, Planning and Zoning, the Water and Sewer, as well as Public Works, to really stay connected to current challenges and priorities that they're facing, I think it's also important to think about a strong system of checks and balances for these groups to really make sure that they are focused on the right purpose and being able to really break down siloed approaches to really create community level alignment and collaborations where it's possible. I think my goal is to make sure that these vital groups are funded appropriately, financially and fiscally responsible, and staffed so that they can continue to serve us effectively. I believe it's necessary for their involvement to be at city council discussions that really allow for their expertise to inform key decisions, as well as contribute back to the city's overall short-term and long-term goals. I think it's important to highlight that strategic annual planning will be a priority for me. I think making sure that we are aligning each group to their long-term vision, tactical execution, and ensuring that we are collaborating along the progress to make sure that we are looking at ways to streamline things. Like I shared before, I think transparency is also important when we're working across a variety of different departments and committees. I would advocate for open reporting in all forums, really making sure that we are promoting accountability and keeping the community informed and engaged as really a guiding principle. This level of transparency for all not only builds trust, but also strengthens the connection between city leadership and residents, and making sure that all voices are heard, and that we are really taking those into account of strategic planning, both short term and long term. Thank you.
Thanks, Marie. Paul, let's come back to you. So the question is, how would you support the various departments and committees that have been established to help the city operate?
Well, they all have their budgets, and we just need to really focus on, the things that they need. Most of the different departments, they're really focused on their needs and are certainly willing to share them with the city council. Most of the council, every one of the departments has a rep that is kind of assigned to those departments and those committees, and the best we can do is listen to them and take their advice for what needs to be done in the city, and share their needs with the rest of the council when the time comes for meetings. So.
Ryland, you guys are picking up on the pattern here.
No signs either. So, just a couple of things. One thing that I really feel is important is involving volunteers, citizens, residents to become involved with our committees. This is an exciting time with our sewer project and developments coming both commercially and residentially, and I think just the interest by the number of people that are here and also by the number of people that view our YouTube meetings on all of our committees. I think that's excellent. So it does show me that there is an interest in doing that. So if residents would consider a 1 hour, 2 hours a night, or 2 hours a meeting once a month, that would go a long ways and provide resident input. We've all mentioned that, and I think that'd be important to become involved, because that is one way you can do that, whether it's parks, water and sewer, P&Z, those are probably, and water and sewer, I mentioned that. So I think that's very important for residents to take that initiative. If nothing else, just come to a meeting sometime. Just show that the chairperson and the members of the committee like to see residents sitting in the audience. So it indicates some willingness to learn more about what's going on. So I think that's important. My involvement with the committees is the parks. I'm the alternative liaison, council member to the parks. EDA is something that we set up a year ago. I'm the president of the EDA, and we have a board of 7 members, and that was started in August of 2023. So this past year, it's a matter of just getting bylaws and action plans put together. We're working with a lady from CETA Representative, the CETA organization, which is Community Economic Development Associations based out of Chatfield, Minnesota. I think that role, she's here one day every week on a Thursday. That's going to play a key role in our development, and that's worked out very well so far, and we have a lot of initiatives. Also, the EDA is an entry point We've had Linda King come to us with the realtor and the engineer with the plans, concepts of how they're planning to do that. And so that's a great start. And I think that's our introduction, but also with the P&Z, they're becoming involved with it too. So that's very important. There's a lot of opportunities for grant money. We're also working with Age-Friendly Oronoco to get some grant money for some parks, amenities, and hopefully that grant will be submitted by November the 8th. There's just a lot of those kinds of activities that Age-Friendly is bringing to the city. The Water and Sewer Committee. I've been on the Sewer Committee since 2015, the chairperson for the last 7-8 years, and it was a passion, to say the least, because of all the interaction I had with the legislator driving up, meeting with the committee members on both the Senate and the legislative side, the representative side. It was truly an experience, and just we had some emphasis from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. That was our carrot, if you will, with the legislators from 2015 to 2020. We needed to demonstrate to the legislator that we were serious about a wastewater project in our sewer system. So that was a great opportunity. I think persistence and leadership of making that happen was one of my good assets for making that happen. So it's great to see that coming together. I think those are the things I just want to touch base on, my experience and I've been involved with. But I do emphasize the need to residents become involved with our committees, and that would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I think as we all have kind of said, listening and being that ear is going to be helpful. Voices matter. Reading. I do like reading emails, love bureaucracy. I love going through pages of things, looking out at all of the eyes here. Everyone else is big readers. I can see everyone loves long documents with lots of words in them, just like I do. Volunteering my time to sit down and go through all of these proposals to find out what is truly going to be best for the residents of Oronoco is how I best plan to help all of these different communities, or I'm sorry, all of these different departments. Fire is volunteer. I'd love to volunteer more. As I had told you, it's 3 small kids. We'll get into more of that in the final. Come to see me afterwards. I'd love to volunteer more. The Parks Department, well, I'm sweeping off the pickleball court when I can, but I'd love to get out there and do more, tighten some bolts. I don't want to break any laws while I'm out there, but getting out there is what I like to do. I don't like sitting around and being useless. So if I can get my kids out and meet the other members of the community, hear about the problems that are facing everyone, and finding solutions together with them, that's what we're all here to do. So Adam, thank you for the question. That's why we're here.
Daniel.
So, to address fire and emergency response, they're taken care of in our budget. The last few years we've been kicking the can down the year on the budget to replace some of their equipment. It's time that we finally catch up with them. EDA, parks, planning and zoning. The way I look at it is right person, right role. What would be nice if we had more community engagement. I will understand where my weaknesses are, and I will seek to find somebody who can fulfill that deficit. Like, I might not be a Parks and Rec person. Maybe you want to volunteer for it. There we go. Right person, right role. But also limiting council members to 1 seat per area. Limiting the council allows for more citizens to come in, more voices to be heard. Those little departments, they're doing the homework and they're making the suggestions to us as council members on what the decision should be, and then it would be us who needs to listen to them. One glaring thing that hasn't been addressed is our city staff. Our city staff needs support as much as any of these other places. And right now I see that the city staff is kind of lost. We have a new city administrator. He doesn't have a defined role. The city staff is unsure of what their responsibilities are. We have council people doing city roles. So I think that having an audit of responsibilities over the next few months and determine what the city council should be involved with and what should be involved, and have Jason delegate to the city staff. There's nothing in our code right now that even says anything about having Jason as a role. And so he needs our support. They need our support. They need to be able to work with more autonomy than what they have been given in the past. So I feel like this is probably the area that's lacking the most, is supporting our paid staff to do paid staff stuff and have our volunteer, I mean, what's $1,200 a year, $6 an hour to sit at the city council. We're going to call that a volunteer. We need to give our staff the autonomy to do their jobs and get out of their hair. We don't need to have people here giving them information from one person and then somebody else coming in and giving them second information. So that's where I see our biggest deficit is. Thank you.
Jim?
All righty. So, actually, I see the support of our committees not just on a single person. I think it's the council supports our committees, and I also think our community supports our committees. I believe that support model will change. The needs of that support model and the needs of those committees are going to change as our city continues to grow and evolve. And with that, as being a part of the Planning and Zoning Committee for quite some time, we're making a lot of changes right now. We have our new city code will come out shortly. We've contracted that. We're pushing for more transparency in our planning and zoning and the building permits that are out there, the building that's happening within our city. Make sure people understand what's happening in our city and not just one person knowing or two people knowing. People need to understand what businesses are coming in, what developments are coming in. And I think we're making some good strides in planning and zoning to ensure that we have that transparency and that accountability. I've been a liaison for the fire department, not this past year, but I'm very proud of our fire department and what they've achieved in terms of grants that they've gotten, in terms of training, in terms of the numbers of new people that they've brought on. And that goes the same for our first responders. They're all a great team. I've been on personnel committee, I believe, for maybe the last 3 years, I believe. And we brought in a new city administrator within that. And within that, we've also have went through the process of updating our personnel policies. So to Dan's point, so people understand what their roles are, because these things haven't been updated. And we will have that, and we will have accountability. And there always has to be checks and balance. Nobody goes unaccounted for within our city. So everyone has to report to somebody. So that's in the structure of it. I serve on city streets and roads. There's not a lot of action that happens within that committee. It's an as-needed meet. But I think the good thing here is with the water and sewer project, a lot of our streets are going to be new. And there are some streets that definitely have to be replaced and repaired within budget, and that's where we struggle, is the budget. And I think through all this, we have to make sure that these committees, there's no personal agenda. It's about the city and what's the best for the city, not the individual. So.
Well, how would I support the various departments? Being a current council member, I'm on a lot of these different committees right now, one of them being planning and zoning. I'm on personnel. I'm the liaison right now between the fire department and the city council. I'm a backup to Ryland on water and sewer. And right now doing the steering committee for WSB, which is rewriting the new city code that we have going on. So in planning and zoning, it's there's so many things that are going on, but it's listening to you people in the city is what's the most important part of that with the planning and zoning. So many things are changing right now, but it's finding the direction of what you really want to have. You know, is it the larger lot sizes and the type of living that we've had right now, which has drawn everybody to this city? Or is it trying to change that some other looks that you could have gotten or get if you want to go to Rochester, which is just a couple miles down the road? So planning and zoning is a key, and again, listening to the 219 people on what they wanted to have with the Hamilton project. On the Personnel Committee, both Jim and I worked on that. We were responsible for bringing Jason Baker in on trying for a new city administrator. Again, rewriting the personnel policy book that we're working on right now, which is a pretty large undertaking. With the fire department, there's been a lot of things going on, and we had kicked the can down the road for so many years on what there was with the equipment. And there's different regulations that we have to uphold, especially when we're looking at the infrastructure going forward or what we need to have with this community. So we have to work with OSHA, and we also have to work with the NFPA requirements that there are. So if you take a look at your insurance, it goes down if we've got those requirements met and what we have here in the city. And it's going to be for the future growth that we have as well. So in regards to that, over this last year, the fire department had come and asked for a new pumper, which we needed. We were out of code. And the new pumper would have been $1.2 million, and it would have taken 48 months for it to get to be delivered. I don't drive a new car every year. I drive a used car. And so I suggested to the fire department that they turn around and take a look at used equipment instead of looking at new equipment. And we were able to find a fantastic pumper that there was for $300,000 that was available right away. And that's in operation right now for the fire department. We also turned around and the first responders were using an old ambulance that we had, and the first responders would get stuck out there in the township, which is where we do a lot of our calls. And so we were able to replace that with a new 4x4 that makes it easy for the first responders to get involved with. So with that and looking at that, that's what we need for that infrastructure that there is to have the city grow. Currently, we have 27 firefighters, okay, that there are for a volunteer fire department. Prior, there was only 14. And we also have 27 first responders, and before that, there were only 8. And these 27 kind of go between first responders and fire. But that's what you want to have. If an emergency comes up, you want them to be there, okay? And you need to have the 2 pumpers to do it. So I believe in more community involvement. Now, I'll tell you, the fire department first responders on that, and especially with some of the work with the Lions Club, they have the Santa Claus that comes in once a year, which is great. But when the fire department has something going on, everybody turns around and attends, whether it be National Night Out, whether it be Gold Rush. That's the place where things are really happening, and it's so important off of that. Water and sewer, I've been involved with that from the beginning of the construction to where it was to the commission we have going on right now. And again, the most important thing that we're working on is the steering committee for WSB and the new code. So it's watching that and that. So the involvement is there. It's an important part of the city. And yeah, we'd love to have more people get involved. Thank you.
Well, we've done a fairly good job of managing time. Actually, I think you all did such a great job of managing time that I won't be able to ask my surprise question. So, great to kind of close the comments and save a little bit of time for meet with some of the folks here. So if you would just, if you can make your closing pitch in a minute or so, that would be great. And we will come back and waiting.
Sounds good. I guess I'm always up first, right? So, I guess in closing, I just want to thank you all for your time and really being engaged. I can only see Adam's face, but I'm assuming the room is full. So, hopefully you can see me, and I'm sure I'm up on the big screen. But again, thank you. As you heard today, City Council isn't necessarily glamorous work, right? It's reviewing volumes and volumes of zoning, it's reviewing and editing policies, it's working on partnerships with legislation and others. But I'm here today to really seek a seat at City Council. I will work tirelessly to represent the interests of Oronoco with transparency, integrity, and a commitment to our shared future. We need to focus on proactive approaches versus reactive. Together, we need to build a stronger, more united community where every voice is heard and valued. I look forward to the opportunity to serve you and to help Orinoco move forward. Thanks again for your support.
Paul?
Well, I think Oronoco's got a lot of potential ahead of it. A lot of people that are interested in getting involved, and we really thank everybody for putting this together. And we've had a lot of great committees that we need to stay followed up with. We've had a lot of good potential for Oronoco. So wish everybody well, and way to go. Thank you.
Ryland.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming this evening. This is an awesome crowd, and it's exciting to see everybody. The last time we had a public forum like this, Kennedy, was in 2018 when Gold Rush sponsored one in 2016 and 2018. So it's been a while since we've had this opportunity for candidates to share with the residents and also with the Zoom and YouTube also. So thank you for coming out and spending the time here to hear us. I think I bring a lot of integrity to the council. My involvement with the water and sewer project was a very monumental project. I have a letter in my files from the city, from the Olmsted Health Department and MPCA in 1972, saying the city needed a city water and city sewer system. 50 years later, we started that construction in March of 2022. So as I mentioned earlier, the persistence of working with the legislators, I think that was a credit to my passion for the city. And I would like to have that opportunity to continue that passion. I think it's a great opportunity. It's an exciting time ahead of us. So I think that's pretty much what I have to say. But at the last, I guess I would say it's been an honor to serve the city this many years, and I look forward to a couple more years as well. Thank you.
Jeff.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. Thank you, Stephen, with the Lions Club. Thank you, Joy, with the Oronoco Historical Society. If I haven't made it clear tonight what I want to do for this city council, what I want to do for Oronoco is to provide value for the residents. Talk to me at the meet and greet. I have something I'd like to share with you about a contract that was signed that I'm not a big fan of, but we're saving positive things for this. And I'd like to say that I will be here for you. I will listen to you. I will engage with you. And I look forward to doing that. So please shake my hand afterwards. I'd love to hear more from you.
Now, thank you for coming out tonight. I'm seeking City Council to try and make a difference, to try and see some change. And if you are also looking for change and you want to see new faces, you have three right here. So it's up to you guys as you go around town. You're not going to see my signs out. I haven't put any signs out. I rely solely on word of mouth. So if you think that I would be appropriate for this, then feel free to spread my name around. Thanks.
So first of all, I'd like to thank Joe and the Lions, or excuse me, Joy and the Lions for putting this together. And again, I'm very excited to see the growth of this city. I'm also excited to see really where it goes. I know there's a lot of work to come, but I think it's good work. I've been honored to serve on the council and the committees that I've served on so far. And no matter what happens, I plan to stay involved in our city. I love our city. I've invested a lot in our lifestyle to be here. And I think a lot of others have also invested a lot to be here. And this is the place they want to be. And I think it's up to us, and being a council member currently, and I think it's also up to the future council members to make sure this city remains a diamond as it is right now. So again, been honored to serve, and I'd be honored to serve a little bit longer. Thank you.
Did you hear that okay with Jim? I didn't pass that over. It's okay. Okay. Well, in conclusion, I just want to say that transparency is a key that I'm looking for in listening to what's going on with the community. It's not an I, it's a we, and that's how I look at doing it. You are the ones that put me in this position. I'll still be in this position no matter what for the next 2 years. So I'm on council again for another 2 years of my term, and hopefully I'll be as mayor doing that. My experience that I've had on being a sales manager has given me some great learning, some listening skills, focusing my attention on the needs of others, and being solution oriented. And I also kind of take a look at my business background as well. And it kind of opens up some areas when you turn around and came in and you get a set of some new eyes. Being only around here for 4.5 years, but I take my business background and started to take a look. Right now, the current mayor has had his check signing privileges revoked as of December last year for signing checks that were instructed by the city council not to sign. So that's just one of the things that I just want to make you aware of. And again, you can watch that in December council meeting of 2023. Being a signer of the checks that there was a check that I signed for the Robinson, which is the serving company that there is. It's got the server in town. And that check I signed was for $147,000. And that's for paying for their taxes that there are, which is referred to as TIF payments. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in this community that don't realize that that's how much money that we spent. So I ended up totaling things out. So far, since that company employs 3 people, and they're not from Oronoco, but with that, we've already paid them $664,435. You know, I think that money would come in very handy for what's going on right now for what we have for our tax base. We still owe an additional $291,520 for that. So that's coming, and that comes out of our taxes that we're working on right now. And I don't know if you're aware of that. We overcharged also on zoning permits for a couple of the new companies that came into town. One was Glenn's Motor Coach and the other were Two Sisters. And I was able to get that reversed, so we got that back to those owners. And it was Glenn's for $28,259 and Two Sisters for $37,640. Also, we had turned around and we had asked for requests for building permits for actually a couple of years and weren't able to get the actual building permits when they were being issued, which is public knowledge. With that, we were able to get iWorks approved, and that was in our June 2024 meeting of City Council. And that, the mayor was the only one that did not want us to have access to the active building permits that there were to the city. And that's one way where we can keep track of what's actually going on so we know what's happening for the transparency of the people in the city. So we also have had an issue with contracting signing abilities of the mayor, which he signed a contract of intent for the Hamilton Group in April. City Council was not aware of that until August, and you can watch that in the August City Council meeting as well. So these are just a few things that I've found, you know, as being a vice mayor doing the signing that I probably would not have known about, because none of this stuff for even the stuff for the TIF payments came to our budget in the last 2 years. So I just want to make a comment that, number one, I'm going to be working for you people. That's what I believe. I want to listen to what you have to say, what you want, be responsible for what there is. So I'm responsible to you, and I'm also responsible to my higher power, Jesus Christ. And that's where I live. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, Jim. Thanks to each of you for your participation. It is a lot. It's a lot to take on these responsibilities. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot to even envision being. So, on behalf of Oronoco, thank you for your willingness to serve or for serve. This will be posted on the Oronoco History Center Facebook or YouTube site, and then it will probably be shared from there. It has been streamed live. There are people watching currently. Want to again thank the Lions and the Oronoco History Center for their participation, sponsorship of this. Thank Carter for his work in making the technical piece work kind of last minute, and so we're very appreciative of that. There is an opportunity now for folks, as much as you're willing to engage individually with you, but otherwise this concludes kind of the formal part of our session. Yeah, Joy.
I just want to say thank you to Adam for being our moderator, and also Carter, again, thank you very much. I don't know how we would have done this without Carter, and also my son, been helping with the technical part as well. The Lions Club, Steve Sherry, President, Dale Weems, have been great, along with Chris and Mary Fuller with the Oronoco area. So again, thank you all for coming in. I appreciate all of the candidates for your speeches tonight, free talk.